for those who are brand new also to this world, can you give us a little context just in case people are listening to this and like, wait a second, I'm not following what's happening. So when you're talking about equity, you're saying when you raise money, typically investors, ask for a percentage of your company
Sure.
in exchange, right? So you're saying when you guys are looking at raising money, you want to make sure that if you're going to give away any piece of your company, that you're only doing it for money that is going to be spent on assets that are long-term decisions versus if you
Correct.
need something in the here and now, like I just need to go buy this machine or I need to do
Right.
something very short term, you're going to look for alternative solutions.
That's right. And I think the
Okay.
simplest way to think about it is, well, first of all, what I would tell people is I know when people start talking about money, many of us, particularly women and minorities, we get a little intimidated. Like, am I supposed to know that? And I am here to tell you, you are not supposed to know that. Give yourself permission to not be an expert in finance. I think the fact that you're self-funded makes you the hero that everybody strives for. But I think what I have yet to meet a business owner who started their business because they have a passion for finance and accounting, unless you start an accounting firm.
Right.
So the way I think about it in the most simple terms is if someone came to me and they lent me $1, so that dollar is a loan.
Mm-hmm.
That if it's a loan, that means I have to pay you back the dollar in some period of time. It might be a 2-year loan. It might be a 3-year loan. It might be a 6-month loan. It might be a 10-year loan. But at some point, I have to give you the dollar back. And on top of that, I have to give you interest. So instead of giving you $1, I'm going to give you $1 plus. So I need to think about the fact that if I have to give you the dollar back in 6 months with interest, I better use the dollar for something that generates the dollar plus interest in
Right.
6 months, right?
Yes.
So if I took that dollar and I put it into some long-term building, it's not going to give me money back in 6 months. So you have to be really careful about how you use that. Now, if someone else walked up to me and said, Lara, I'm going to give you $1 and it's equity, it's an investment. It's not a loan. You can pay me back when you make money. And if you don't pay me back, I'm not going to take your house like the bank would.
Right.
But I don't expect $1.10. I expect $2, right? I expect a much larger payout, even though I'm going to be much more, flexible in terms of some of the timing. Now, that might seem like the greatest dollar ever because you don't owe it back in 6 months. But what you have to remember is that person is now your partner for a long time. And that means you no longer have decision-making total control. You've got to get insights from your investors. There's a lot of equity is the most expensive dollar you will ever take because you give up part of your company. And then someone else might come up and say, you know what, Lara, here's the dollar I owed you last week. Well, that's interesting. That is my dollar. You should have given me that a week ago. In fact, I already earned that dollar and I don't owe it back to anybody. That's the dollar now account gives you. That's what made us realize that it's your own revenue that is not only the cheapest capital you can use, but it's the most flexible because if you give me the dollar that you owed me last week, I'm going to spend it tomorrow because I don't owe it back to you.
And you get to have autonomy, right, over how you spend it, whether it's a long-term or a short-term investment. I love that breakdown. That is like the simplest breakdown I've ever heard of investing and lending. This is so good. I feel like we should just like clip this one piece out and like put it on YouTube, right? Investing 101 for women. I love that.